A trap house. On the west side of Detroit, in a neighborhood long forgotten by the city, there was a house that everyone called the Trap. It wasn't just a name for the drug dealing and hustling that happened there. It was something darker. The house had a reputation. People went in, but they didn't always come out. It was an old brick building covered in graffiti with boarded up windows and a sagging roof. But at night, it felt alive. Some said it breathed. Others swore they heard screams coming from inside, but no one ever wanted to stick around long enough to find out. Isaiah, or Zay, as everyone called him, knew the stories. But he wasn't the type to believe in ghosts or curses. He was just trying to survive, make some money, and get out of the hood like everybody else. The streets didn't care about superstitions. They cared about respect, hustle, and fear. Zay had heard about a big score going down at the Trap, a stash that was worth risking everything for. He had a small crew, Tone, Rico, and his girl, Keisha. They were all about their business, and when Zay told them about the score, they didn't hesitate. If the rumors were true, the cash and drugs stashed in the Trap could set them up for life. They didn't care that people said the house was cursed. Money was real. Curses weren't. It was just past midnight when they pulled up in Tone's beat-up Crown Vic, parking a few blocks away to avoid drawing attention. The streets were quiet, too quiet for a Friday night. Even the usual corner hustlers were gone, as if they knew to stay away from the Trap tonight. We go in, we get what we came for, and we out in 10 minutes, Zay said, checking his Glock before tucking it in his waistband. The others nodded, though there was an unease that none of them voiced. The house loomed ahead, dark and silent. As they approached, Zay could feel the air around him get thick, like the atmosphere was pushing down on them. The front door creaked open with a nudge, and they stepped inside, flashlights cutting through the pitch-black darkness. Inside, it was worse than Zay expected. The house smelled like mold, rot, and something else. Something foul. Old bloodstains marred the walls, and graffiti covered every inch of space. Strange symbols mixed in with the usual tags. The floors creaked under their weight, and the deeper they went, the colder it got. "This place gives me the creeps," Keisha whispered, her eyes darting around. "Focus," Zay muttered, pushing open a door that led to the basement. According to his source, that's where the stash was. But as soon as the door opened, they heard it, a sound like whispering, soft but urgent, echoing up from the darkness below. "What the was that?" Rico asked, his voice low but tense. Zay didn't answer. He wasn't sure himself, but they had come too far to back out now. The basement was pitch black, the only light coming from their flashlights. It was cold, far colder than it should have been. The walls down here were lined with old yellowed newspaper clippings, but as Zay scanned them, he realized they weren't random. They were all about deaths, murders, disappearances, all tied to the house. Names he recognized, people from the hood who had gone missing. And the deeper they went, the more it felt like the walls were closing in on them, like the house itself was alive. "We should go," Keisha said, her voice trembling now. "Ain't nothing in here worth this." "Shut up," Tone hissed, shining his light in her face. "We almost there." But as they reached the bottom of the stairs, the whispers grew louder, and Zay could finally make out what they were saying. "Leave. Leave before it's too late." Suddenly, the floor beneath them shook violently, like something was moving beneath it. Rico stepped back, but before anyone could react, the ground opened up, swallowing him whole. "Rico," Zay shouted, but Rico was gone, his screams fading into the darkness below. Panic hit, Keisha screamed, and Tone's flashlight flickered out. The basement was plunged into total darkness, and the whispering grew into a chorus of voices, louder, angrier, all around them. "We gotta get out of here," Keisha cried, grabbing Zay's arm. They bolted up the stairs, but the house wouldn't let them go that easily. The walls seemed to shift, closing off exits, leading them in circles. The whispers turned to shouts, and shadows moved along the walls, chasing them, closing in. Tone tripped, and when Zay turned to help him, he froze. Something had grabbed him. From the floor, long, twisted arms reached out, pulling Tone into the darkness. His screams were cut short, leaving only Zay and Keisha. "This ain't real," Zay muttered to himself, trying to hold it together, but the house was alive, and it wanted them. They made it to the front door, but as Zay reached for the handle, the door slammed shut in his face. He turned, and there they were, the spirits of those who had died here, faces twisted in agony, their eyes hollow, reaching for him. "You're gonna end up like us," one of the spirits hissed. "No," Zay shouted, firing his gun wildly, but the bullets did nothing. The shadows closed in, and in his last moment, he felt the cold grip of death pull him under. The next day, the house was quiet again. No one saw Zay or his crew leave, and no one asked questions. The trap had claimed more lives, just as it always had. It was a part of the hood's fabric now, a place you didn't mess with. And as the years passed, the legend of the trap only grew as people whispered about the souls still trapped inside, waiting for the next group of fools to try their luck.